Hey guys, in this video we're just going to do some simple animation just to prepare us for the snake game project in this chapter. Alright, so in the last video I showed you how to do shapes, text, and lines. Alright, so now we're going to do some simple animation. If we look at the final web page, basically we just have a canvas that we painted black, and then we're going to make some circles and have them do some very simple animation across the X and Y axis. Alright, so first things first, let's create a new document. And new document. Okay, and we're just going to call this canvas2.html. And I'm going to open that with Notepad++, paste in our standard structure, and we're basically going to do the same kind of thing here. We're going to have, actually let's create our canvas first. So canvas, and we'll give this an ID of my canvas. And we'll set a width of 600. Whoop, we have to use equals here. Whoop, 600, and then a height of 400. And that's good. Alright, so again, if someone doesn't have a browser that enables Canvas or allows Canvas, we'll just give them a paragraph. Alright, so now what we want to do is let's add just some style tags so we can see the border of the canvas. Alright, let's check it out. Whoops, that's the finished one. Alright, so there's our canvas. Now let's create our initializer. So we want script tags, and we want a function. Actually, first that's good. Let's do the function, and that's going to be called init. Alright, and then in here we're going to set, actually above the function, we're going to create our variables. So variable C and variable CTX. And then in here we'll set those. C is going to equal document dot get element by ID, and the ID is my canvas, and then of course we need our context variable, and we want to pass in 2D. Alright, so that sets that up, and then we just want to call draw. Well, if I can spell it. And then on the body, let's just add that onload. Let's say onload. We're going to run init. Alright. So the main part of this script is going to be this draw function. Now what we want to do here is we want to create two variables. One is going to be for the X position and one for the Y position. Alright, so I'm going to say variable position X is going to be equal to 0. Position Y also equal to 0. Alright, and then we want to run this set interval function. Okay, so we're going to say set interval, and basically that's going to take a callback function or a self-calling function, and then in there is where we can put what we want to happen after every interval, kind of like a loop. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is have these positions increment, and we're going to increment them by 1. So position X is going to be incremented by 1, and position Y, same thing. And oh, one thing I did forget is this set interval takes 2 parameters. Okay, so we have the callback, the function that we want to run is the first parameter, and then after that we want a comma, and we want the speed at which these intervals should go, so basically how fast the animation should be. So I'm going to do just 30 milliseconds for now. So basically anything we put in here is going to run every 30 milliseconds. Now before we go into showing you how to make circles and all that, I just want to show you just a very basic animation using what we already know. Alright, so we know how to draw a rectangle. So let's make a rectangle animate across the screen, across the canvas. Alright, so let's just say ctx.fillStyle. Okay, we know that that is just to fill the color of the rectangle, and then ctx.fillRect, which is going to basically draw the rectangle for us. Okay, so here we did earlier we did 0, 0, which is x and y axis, and then the size of the rectangle, we'll do 50 by 50. All right, so this isn't going to do anything because it's going to draw the rectangle in the same place every loop or every interval. So what we need to do is make this dynamic. We want to change the x-axis to be position x, which is going to be incremented every interval. Alright, so that means it's going to be in a different position every interval. Okay, so that's going to bring us animation because it's going to change with every loop that it does. So if we save that, now you can see our rectangle is going across, but obviously something's wrong here. Alright, so basically it's keeping the everything that it draws is just staying there. What we want to do is every iteration we want to clear it so that it continues, so it just stays as one square and goes across the screen. Alright, and that's really easy to do. All we need to do is up here is do ctx.clearRect. Alright, and then for parameters we want the entire thing, so we'll start at 0, 0. Okay, so that's the x and y, and then we want to do the entire width and the entire height of the canvas, which we can get with c.width and c.height, and that c is coming from here. Alright, so let's save that and reload. Now our square is staying intact and moving across the screen, and we can change the speed. Let's say we want to change this to 300. Okay, if we save that, now it's going to go really slow. Alright, and let's change this to, let's say, 5, and then it goes faster. Alright, so very basic, but what I want to do is, not only do I want to show you animation, but I want to show you how to make a circle, because it's quite different than making a rectangle. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, but as far as the animation, it's going to be pretty much the same, except we're going to have a couple different circles, and some will go up and some will go sideways. Alright, actually I want that back, what we just had, because what I want to do is I want to make the entire width and height of the canvas black. Alright, so I'm just going to change this. Alright, and that's pretty much all we need. We don't need the clear. And then here we want 0. We don't want this. we don't want the rectangle to animate, we just want it kind of as a background. Alright, so I'm going to keep that, and now we can start to build our circles. Alright, so fill style is the same. I'm going to say CTX fill style, and this one we're going to set to white. Actually, I'll just use the words just for simplicity. Alright, so fill style white. Now when we're doing a circle, we need to create where we want the path to begin. Alright, so we need to say CTX dot begin path. Alright, and then we can go ahead and create the circle. And we're going to do that with CTX dot arc. Okay, and this arc, this takes a few parameters. Since this is going to be animated, we want to set the X position as our variable. Okay, so position X, and for the Y position, I'm not going to set it at 0. I'm going to set it at 120 because I want the circle to be in view, to be somewhat in view when it starts. Alright, so I don't want a blank canvas and then have the circles pop into view. I want them already partly in view. Alright, so that's why I'm setting it to 120. The next parameter is going to be the radius of the circle. Alright, so for this I'm going to set it to 55. And the next two parameters are a little bit complicated to understand, but basically we're going to have the starting angle in radians, and then the ending angle will be the next parameter. So we're going to start it at 0. Alright, so that's going to be the start angle, and then to calculate what we need here, we're going to use math. We're going to use the math object. We're going to say get the math.pi, and then we're going to multiply that by 2. Alright, and that basically will give us the circumference that we need for our circle. And then we just want to call the fill function or method, and we can do that with ctx.fill. Alright, and that should give us one circle, one white circle that will pretty much animate across the screen. So let's save this. And something's not right here. Oh, we set the background, the rectangle, to 50-50. We want that to the whole width and the whole height. So this should be c dot width and then c dot height. Alright, let's try that. Alright, so there's our circle. You can see when it starts, part of it's showing, and that's because of the 120. Alright, the 120 on the x-axis. Alright, so it just travels across the screen, nothing too special. Let's just create a couple more. Alright, so basically we can just copy what we have here, and let's just create 2 more. Alright, so for the second one, let's make it red. Alright, so we'll make that red, and then let's see, let's make it 150. So 150 pixels of it will show. Actually, wait a minute. You know what I want to do is replace this position X with a solid, with a static number, 150, and then the Y-axis variable I want to set to position Y. And what that'll do is make it come from the top down. Alright, and then let's make this a little bit bigger. Let's say 78. The rest can stay the same. And then this circle, let's make it blue. And we'll have this going down as well. So let's trade this in. Let's change this to 350. And this will be the position Y variable, and change the size to 38. Okay. Alright, so there's our circles. Alright, and if we change the speed, let's say we want to change this to 5 or 4, and it goes much faster. Alright, so that's very simple animation. Now we'll start our project, our chapter project, which will be a snake game.